Hello, welcome to Board Deck and Dice. Today we are doing a review of the Merry Men expansion to Sheriff of Nottingham. This is 6 modular expansions that can be used in conjunction with each other. Although you might not want to use all of them at once, you certainly could if you wanted a complex game. So let's take a look at all the modules, and then I'll tell you what I think about them at the end. The first expansion adds a 6th player, so you get the bag and the card, the kind of player board for a 6th player, which is this innocent looking lady. You get deputy order cards, 2 deputy stands and a loot thing. And what this does is, rather than having the Sheriff of Nottingham, you have 2 deputies, and the way that's decided is you take these 6 cards which just have the colours and characters on for each people, you shuffle them up and then you choose 2 from the top, and then blue and black are going to be the first deputies. And now what will happen is that on the firstly as well, on the setup there's no discard pile, so you don't set up the 2 discard piles like you do in Sheriff of Nottingham. Each player gets to choose some to lay aside and then draw some back as per normal, but they can only draw from the draw pile, not from discard piles. The ones they've laid aside all get turned into a discard pile by one of the deputies. When it comes to the declaration and inspection, any bribes that are offered to both deputies, if both deputies agree to accept the bribe, they go on this booty tile. If there is a disagreement between the deputies, then those bribes and penalties are handled separately. So if this fella here decides that he wants to open a bag but this one doesn't, then this will have received the rewards and penalties on their own. If they both decide, then all rewards or penalties are paid by both of them or taken in by both of them. After 2 people have been deputies, you put the 2 on the discard pile, you choose the next 2, they're the deputies, and you do that so everyone is a deputy 3 times in the game. And that's it. It works exactly the same as the rest of the game apart from that. Now, let's have a look at I can't remember what this one's called, Black Market. The Black Market is just a set of cards that there's 3 pairs, and basically if you manage to smuggle the required amount of mead, which is 3 times mead on this case, you can exchange that mead for a 32 coin card, which then goes into your collection. The first person to do that gets 32, the second gets 29, and you can do that for all the illegal goods of silk, mead and pepper. You smuggle in 3, then you get this bonus by trading in your other cards for them. That's the Black Market one. The laws is a bit more complicated. Let's move this stuff out of the way. So laws, you have a card of laws, and at the start of the game, sheriff or the deputies will shuffle up them, take 3 out, and then choose 1 to discard. So, for example, penalties reduced. All contraband penalties are reduced from 4 gold to 2 gold. Now that could be good for the sheriff if he wants to open a lot of oh no, that's mainly good for the people, isn't it, that one? Because the sheriff never pays penalties on contraband. So that one's good for the people. At the end of each round, the merchant with the most cheese in their merchant stand must sell 1 cheese card for the bank. So let's say the sheriff thinks I'm going to get rid of that one. During the market phase, merchants may buy additional cards from the face down pile. For each card, pay 1 gold, draw the new card, then discard a card of your choice. Merchant may purchase up to 5 cards in this way. So these are game-changing things that the sheriff puts into play. Next sheriff will draw 2 more, look at them, choose to discard 1, compulsory chicken sale, and then they will basically move along. So that one will go onto the bottom, these will go along, and so 1 stays for 2 rounds essentially. And each sheriff gets to choose which new law comes in. So that's laws. We also have special orders. Now these are a bit like the Black Market, but at the start of the game you will deal 4 of these out. Let's get some different ones. And basically if you smuggle in, and it has to be in one bag, so you have to smuggle in a combination of legal goods and contraband. But if you smuggle in here an apple and a crossbow, you will get 6 coins. And basically your apples though cannot be counted towards the king and queen bonus. So the person who's got the most apples, an apple used for this will not count, but you'll still get the coins on it, but it just won't count for the most cards bonus. And the crossbow you still get the coins for. So if you manage to do that in one bag, you can't do it over multiple turns, unlike the black market. You pop those cards underneath this, underneath your market, and then you count those up at the end. So another way of getting more points there. Lastly, we have the Merry Men. Merry Men comes with a tile, and you have a draw card on that. At the start of the game, each person takes 2 Merry Men, and they do various things. You will choose one. So if I choose Robin Hood, steal 6 gold from the sheriff, keep 3 gold for yourself, and divide the remaining 3 gold among the non-sheriff players. This is treated like an item. So you want us to get these coins and this bonus. You have to smuggle this Merry Man into Nottingham in your bag. If you manage to do it, you immediately reveal it, you take the action, and you get the coins, you put that on the bottom, and you draw another Merry Man. Should the sheriff discover a Merry Man in your trading bag, you will pay the fine as per normal, and then it will be discarded. And the only way to get another one is to win the Merry Men's trust by successfully smuggling in some contraband. Then you can immediately take another Merry Man. So because you can only ever have one Merry Man in your hand. So that is the expansion to Sheriff of Nottingham. I really like this expansion. I like some of them more than others. I like the Merry Men. I think that's a really good expansion. It gives you powers, more incentive to smuggle in and not just play it safe. 6 player, yeah, that's a no-brainer for me. If I've got 6 players, I'm going to use it. The deputy system works well. I like the fact that you have 2 people choosing and perhaps splitting, but those teams are going to be different each time because of the random draw. I think the black market and the special orders are quite similar, although the black market, you don't have to smuggle them in all at once. The special orders, you have to smuggle them in all at once. I would probably play more with the black market because it's a bigger reward, whereas the special orders are a smaller reward. And I just think to play with them both might be a little confusing. The most confusing addition, and it's not totally confusing, are the laws, but they are quite fun. But because they're constantly changing, it's going to be one of those things you have to keep an eye on. But you know, it's not that confusing. Adds a bit of fun, gives the sheriff a bit more powers, but then they have to think, because that's going to affect them as a player next turn, or as a deputies have to decide them together. I think, I definitely add in the Merry Men 6 player and the black market. Pretty much could play with those all the time. Once people are familiar with the game, I could add in special orders and the laws. Laws would be the last one to add it. No, probably special orders would be the last one because it's too similar to black market orders. But yeah, on their own, they're all a bit of fun, a bit of difference to add in, a bit more variety to Sheriff of Nottingham. And it's hard to see, other than more cards, how they could have expanded it. Definitely my favourites are the 6 player and the Merry Men. I think they add the most to the game for me. Laws was surprising, but they're fun. There's some that are just repeats, but with other things. So compulsory sales of cheese, of apples, of chickens, etc. Penalties go up and down. I haven't even seen them all yet because there's a good pile of laws in here, so it does add variety, but just not as much to my liking as the other ones. So I think for the price, you're getting an awful lot of extras to chuck into the game. Even if you only like half of them, it's a pretty good expansion. But for me, I really like 3 of them, and the other 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is there only 5? Have I said 6? There's only 5. I really like 3 of the 6. I quite like another one, and I like the other one. So it's a good expansion from that point of view. So that is the Merry Men expansion to Sheriff of Nottingham. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you next time on Board, Deck and Dice.